Yeah. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Um, if you are online, can you signify the comment section? And so I'm welcome all of us to the second section of this webinar, the Hub webinar. And in this session, we'll be talking about AI and machine language. We're talking about AI and machine language. And yeah, just to do a little bit of iteration from last session, we had the CEO of Demo Hub giving us a bit of introduction to what Demo Hub is and also why we are in this and why we are holding this webinar. So all know that you were around during our last session. Please can you just signify the comment section and just share a bit of insight of what you got from our last session before we move into the. All right, good afternoon to all of us here once again, and welcome to the second session of the Hub webinar. And just for a little bit of information, I want to remind us about just a little bit of information about our last session that we had here. We had our CEO on board, and he gave us an overview of what Demo Hub is and also the reason for the webinar. And the Demo Hub and the Hub webinar is a webinar set aside to equip us with knowledge around most especially tech courses to keep us starting on the go and also to help us to upskill in our career and also glean and get knowledge about other courses of around our career. And in this session, we'll be talking about AI and machine learning, everything is about AI, everything is about machine language. We'll be learning in this webinar. And before I bring in our guest for today is all right, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I want to introduce our guest for today for bringing up AI and machine language, the advantage of the advent of AI in this our day and time, and how well it has been of great productivity to our career and the influences it's actually doing in this day and time that we are in. And I trust that we are going to learn a lot and know how we can leverage on AI to actually grow in our career and, and all around. Yeah, so I said the our speaker for today, David Io, and he has worked with different brands within and also outside the country, and some notable brands also, most especially specifically in Germany. And he's bringing that expertise here right now to give us uh, that knowledge that we need to know about AI. All right, so bringing our guest speaker now so that we can get started. Good
All right.
afternoon, Mr.
All right.
David.
Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me properly?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear
All
you
right.
very
Thank you
properly,
very much.
sir. I hear you very well, sir.
Thanks
Yes,
for
sir.
thanks for bringing me
All
in.
right.
I'm excited to be here. All right. And
Yes, sir.
I know everybody who is present here has something, some expectations, what you want to really know. But first, I need to introduce myself. I'm David Io. All right. I'm based in Germany, and I've worked with different companies. And currently, I am I am working with Dreammaker Hub, okay, technology and consultancy, and I'm their lead data scientist analyst. So I believe that we are here because we have such a great expectations concerning the world of AI and machine learning. The first time I heard about AI machine learning, actually, we all know what AI stands for, which is artificial intelligence. To me, it was like more or less like, I was thinking, what is that? I thought it was rocket science, and I felt that would be very difficult to learn. But in a very simple definition, we can just say that AI is an artificial intelligence. That means AI is the science of making machines, that can think like humans. I think that's just the focus of AI, just to make machine think like humans, act like humans and do things that humans can do. And so it can do, things that are considered smart. For example, the AI technology can process large amount of data in ways, unlike humans, So I would say that the goal of AI is just to enable, to be able to do things such as recognize patterns, make decisions and judge like humans. All right. So that is the main goal of AI technology or AI. All right. So, but in the process of learning all these things, I would say that everything is becoming AI um, integrated. If you look at most of the things that you do now, for example, on Facebook or on Twitter or in different platforms, you can see some AI stuff, embedded in it. And also, when you talk about machine learning actually is also part of AI, all right? And so there are a lot of things to learn there, especially for those of you who are trying to take your careers right in data science. Machine learning is very important for you all, right? Because you have to understand, what machine learning is all about. But one thing I want to say to everybody listening to me is that there is nothing so complicated that you cannot learn. They are quite really easy to learn. It depends on your interest, in this field. And it is very obvious that the way the world is going now, we are going to see more of this coming in, and the world is even taken over now by AI technology. All right. And so it is an opportunity, especially for those of you who are living in Africa, to begin to take chance, take opportunities to begin to learn the new technology in vogue. Because in the nearest future, there are a lot of things that you're going to be seeing, that you're going to be seeing things like, robots, doing a lot of things, and it's going to be a shock, to the world. And even some of this software that you see here and there today, for example, those in the data analytics, you see some AI integrated features, into the software, because they are doing things that humans, cannot do sometimes naturally. They try to mimic, the human way of thinking, and then begin to implement that. So when we're talking about AI, actually, we're talking about the kind of technology that can deal with complex problems. You want to solve some complex problems that looks very difficult. So AI technology is there to handle those things. And yeah, so in the case of machine learning, I want to say that machine learning has been one of my, is something that you can really find so much joy and interest in it. All right. Why AI is solving more complex problems. All right. For example, we say AI use more data. And in the case of machine learning, you may not need that much data, to use. So that's not so that's actually one of the main differences between both of them. But machine learning is actually a subset of AI. All right. So, and in the process of learning machine learning, there are a lot of things that you have to consider. I always tell people that it is also good to have mentors, in this aspect, because you just can't just learn things without somebody directing you, because as you're going to have some issues. So having a mentor in this field is also very important. And I want to really congratulate, the conveyor of this meeting, because they are trying to tell you that, hey, we can guide you in this part. We can show you what you have to do. We can train you in the best way that you can be trained, so that you can become an expert in AI technology, and also in machine learning. So there are so many ways, or so many things, all right, you can do with machine learning, and that will make life actually very, very comfortable and good for you. Like sometimes I've built a lot of algorithms, I've built a lot of things that are very, very helpful for some companies, and they find it very useful. Let me give you some of instances that you should be familiar with. For example, like most of us here who came to across each other, for a long time, you can ask yourself, how did we all, meet, after a long time? Like if you go to Facebook, for example, you'll see that it has to do with recommendation. You have a friend, and that friend recommends another person to you. So all these are just done by data scientists or by AI technology, whereby you can build some recommendation system. It is also implemented in areas like, if you want to talk about, you have an e-commerce company, or you're trying to build a shopping site. And you will see that a lot of times when you go shopping online, they will tell you that somebody who bought this product is also buying another product. All right. So what the company is trying to do in that case is that they are trying to trigger their customers, all right, to begin to buy their product. And also in the process of buying their product, they are trying to recommend another product to the customer. And in that case, there's what you call, in economics, there's what you call market basket analysis. That means you're trying to also increase the what the people are buying, because the company is there to make some profit. So in a nutshell, you can implement a lot. There are a lot of things to learn. And I want to say that in the world of data, all right, in all these AI technology we're talking about, or machine learning, everything is centered on data. All right. When I data, data is not just sometimes just numbers. All right. It can also be in words, information, and but most of the time we have to get all these things either in a structured way or in an unstructured way. So when we're dealing with machine learning, in a nutshell, is that we also dealing with, most of the time, also with structured data, and we work with this data, and we can implement some statistics and mathematical knowledge. But you must not have, a very sound, let me say, a first class background, in mathematics or in statistics before you can go into the field. All right. It has to do with all about interest. For example, I come from the agricultural background. All right. But I had to switch, and even my master's was not in data science or in AI technology. My master's was in hydro science and engineering. but I switched, because I had a passion. I knew that something, there was a shift, there was a shift in the way things being done. And AI technology is just doing some things perfectly, and machine learning, building some wonderful machine algorithms, is just changing the narratives, in businesses, even in research, in almost everything that you're doing. So it started changing narratives, and I saw that I can implement these things in various aspects I'm been working, or the various aspect of my specializations. And I dived into it. Like I said, one of the ways you can really have the best, to get something out of it these days, that you try to get yourself, involved, practicing, having a mentor, get yourself in an institution and be very focused about it. And within a short time, you see that you're going to come out actually in the flying colors. So I think this is just one of the things that I want to say first, and before I will entertain some questions. All right. So please, if there are maybe questions you have there, please, you can just write in the chat forum. Then I can address some of those questions that you actually want to know about. But I want to say that for those of us who are just venturing into this field, I want to say that you are making the best decision, because this is the sexiest profession in the 21st century. It is not something that you're going to regret at all. It is not something that you're going to say that, why did I ever go into this? And the future is really bright, for everybody. The future is just, you can make a lot of things. You can make a lot of good things out of these understanding of AI. And so there are different kinds of machine learning, like you have what we call it the supervised learning, all right, and the unsupervised learning, all right. So there are different types of that, and there are also things that you need to know if you want to really have your skills, develop. Somebody might ask, what do I have to know? What are the, do I have to be a good programmer? Do I have to learn Python? Do I have to learn R? People are asking this kind of questions, from different corners, that, hey, I want to become a machine learning expert. I want to become, what are the things what are the fundamentals? What are the things that I have to know? How do I go about it? I've seen some people, they go off there, just watching because they really know what to do. So question is like, where do I really start? Why this whole program is presented to you, so that you can have, then, and that can leverage, your understanding, because here they're going to guide you and give you everything that you need, to make you to be very strong in this field. So I would say that the first thing is that try to get yourself, ask questions about it, be very curious about it. These are the things I want to know, or these are my capabilities. This is my foundation. Where do I really start from? Maybe you think, okay, you're not good in mathematics, or you're not good in statistics. You see, look at it. Let me tell you the gospel truth. Those are not really issues at all. If you just go in your simple algebra, you just have to be curious. That's one thing about it. If you want to know anything about this technology, you just have to be curious. Whether you're coming from the social science background, whether you're coming from the science background, or whether you're just in the secondary school and you're trying to think about what can I do, to develop my skills. I want to say this also, that a lot of people who are using these tools, who are into the AI field, machine learning, most of them are not even they didn't go to conventional universities. They didn't go to all those kind of universities. They didn't have BSc. They didn't have all those stuff, but they just started with shortest time. You see that everything is going to be AI managed. Companies are going to be using machine learning, different machine learning algorithms to solve their problems. All right. So you're going to be building machine learning algorithms. Please don't let some words, don't let, I want to say this also, don't let some words scare you. They are not important that these words should scare you. All what you need to know is that once you start a feed like this, it is so interesting, I must tell you, Because when I started this field, I thought that it was going to be really, really tough for me. But looking into it, over the years, when I look back, I will tell myself that it was good that I took this profession or this kind of skills. And also understand that all these are skills that you can learn. You don't need to go to university to learn that. You don't need to do those stuff. You don't need to spend 5 years in the university. You can start building yourself now. If you can start today, you understand, get yourself acquainted, ask questions, register for any program that you see, like what is being organized for you right now. So now let me just take a shortcut on the machine learning, because a lot of people are actually, what I've found out is that some people might think, okay, there are some parts that are quite difficult. How do I go about it? Let me say this about machine learning first. Machine learning, like I said to you at the beginning, is that it's just a type of artificial intelligence, and it is focused on building computer system that learns from data. So what machine learning does is this: just learning from data, data, just learning from data. So it is really, really, really cool, because if you are somebody who is passionate, you are data enthusiast. That means you love to work with data. You love numbers. You love, things like that. Machine learning is going to be a top notch for you to really look into. All right. So like I also said that machine learning, you can classify them, and I will give you some examples so that this one will just like, it will trigger your interest, for example. All right. So when you talk about machine learning, you're talking about, like we said, you can classify them like the supervised learning, and also you also have the unsupervised learning. But let me just throw an insight into the supervised learning so that you will understand what it's all about, and maybe that will begin to build your interest. For example, the supervised learning is that you have historical data and with no label. All right. So in this type of machine learning, you have something like you call regression and classification. But I don't want to go deep now, because every one of us, we are just, maybe some of us are new into it, and our purpose of being here is that maybe we want to get some information. Where can I use this? Where can I implement machine learning? What can I do? How can I hear all these words? They look complex in my ears. They sound complex in my ears. So I don't really know what it's all about. Please, anytime you hear about this word model, algorithms, and all, don't let it give you some kind of sleepless night. You see, there is nothing, I want to say this also, there is nothing that is difficult to learn. All what you need is, once you have a good tutor, all right, and you are curious about the learning process, and you really want to learn something, then you're going to get it right. All right. For example, in what areas can we use this machine learning? For example, you want to predict, for example, do some kind of prediction, like you want to know predicting real estate prices. You want to know the prices of from real estate. And nowadays, a lot of people, they are into real estate. If you look at people who have, some cash, they're into real estate, and you want to make some prediction, or you want to know something about the real estate. You see that you, as a machine learning expert, you can make some predictions based on that. All right. Let me also tell you another point that you can work on use machine learning. For example, you want to classify. Let me give you an example. You want to classify whether bank transactions are fraudulent or not. You know that, especially for those who are working, or who are working in the bank, they want to know if something is fraudulent. They want to know if some transactions are fraudulent. There are ways that you can use your machine learning skills, all right, to build some algorithm that would detect those things, if they are fraudulent or not. All right. Then the other part that you can also look into is that, if, for example, you want to determine if a patient is going to have a disease or not. For example, you have some parameters to look into, and you want to see if a patient can be maybe diabetic or have cancer, or not. So there are a lot of opportunities out there, and a lot of companies are looking for experts in this field, right? So, and then another part is that, for example, you want to determine whether loan applicants are at low risk or high risk. For example, those people who are collecting loans, all right, and if there is going to be high risk, if they are going to default or not. A lot of micro finance companies are springing up, and you want to know that, hey, if an applicant, somebody comes and collect loan from us, what is going to happen? Is this person going to default or not? So all these ones are just classified, like under what you call the supervised learning, and which is actually very, very important for most companies. And when we talk about company, there are a lot of companies out there, banks, research and production companies and IT companies. So you have the chance to really find your way into one of these big companies. Even if it's not a big company, but you have the chance to do something, that's something that you see that works for you. There's nothing that is so exciting when you see something working for you. For example, at the moment, I'm doing some trainings for some professors, okay? And I find it so interesting because I'm using all this knowledge, okay, in machine learning to go into researches, do some research work and give them some kind of findings that they won't have been able to find, using their normal ways or normal skills or normal understanding. So we're able to go deeper to see things in a better way, and also to actualize results and make decisions, that are good for companies. Because let me tell you this, once you are there and you are able to add value to the company that you belong to, then that company is going to appreciate you so much. That is why this field is very, very important. And it's an area that I will always encourage people, to really take a look into, and gather everything that they want to gather, and then like launch into it with so much excitement and curiosity. And I tell you, the future is going to be great for you, and you're going to like find yourself like, just like, hey, come on, I'm making the right decision, and you're making the right decision for your future. It is something that you're not going to regret, because there's a lot out there that you are going to enjoy when you launch into this field of machine learning and AI. All right. So if there are questions, I would like to entertain some questions, and let me know, please, the moderator.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much
All
for
right.
that wonderful. I, me personally, I was just writing down a lot of what you were saying, and please, if you are having any speaker, please have your questions been answered. Because one thing I mentioned, you made mention here is curiosity. Take curiosity. You might not really need to have the certification or maybe one big knowledge or whatsoever. But once you have that curiosity, you are willing to learn. You have that passion to go into it. It is very easy for you. So, and one way that shows that you are very curious is by asking questions. So if you have your questions about AI, about machine language, you can begin to put it out there so that they can begin to answer our questions. And as I said earlier, what that stood out for me from what you just said, sir, is we not going the far length of having maybe a certification in mathematics or whatsoever. But once we can get a good mentor and we are being curious about learning, we can find our way and find our footing in machine language. And he also made us to understand that there are two, it can be classified into two aspects: the supervised part and also the non-supervised part. And so, me personally, I have a question, or most especially on that supervised part, because I gained a lot from from the non-supervised part, because I gained a lot from the supervised part where you said that we can use it for predictions, we can use it to determine if the patient is going to get a particular disease, and you also made us to understand how you use it for some professors to make researches that they cannot do on the normal tools on the normal day. So my question goes to us: can you give us a bit of emphasis on the non-supervised aspect of research?
Okay. Um, Actually, like the first part that makes sense to a lot of people, when you begin to learn something, all right, you try to learn first from what is commonly used, at the moment. You understand? So that's why first I gave an example of the supervised learning, all right, Actually, there are three classifications, all right, in the aspect of machine learning. You have the supervised, the unsupervised, and you have the reinforcement learning, all right. So like the examples that I gave for the supervised learning, for example, like predicting real estate, classifying whether bank transactions are fraudulent or not, finding maybe disease risk factors and all thereabout. All those ones are supervised learning because, and then for the unsupervised learning, actually, it is with here you have historical data. We call it historical data with known label, all right? And you use it for mainly for clustering, it's based, the unsupervised learning, machine learning is based on clustering. That means you try to look for patterns. All right, you're looking for patterns in your data. All right, so that part is called you can, an example is just clustering. And then when you talk about the reinforcement learning, that is becoming actually also becoming very popular nowadays. For example, you are teaching cars. I don't know if you've seen some. I was looking at a video one time, and I saw a guy. He stood somewhere, and there was a way he just called the car, and the car came by. All right, and instead of him to move to the car, all right, and the car came to him, and then he had to enter the car. That was really amazing. And these technologies are really moving so fast. For example, teaching cars to park themselves and drive autonomously. I guess most of us, we've seen some things like that, all right, where cars will just drive without anything, without a driver, without, it's really interesting to see. Then the other one that you can also think about in this reinforcement learning is, for example, you dynamically controlling traffic lights to reduce traffic jams. All right, this is something that is quite interesting. But like I said, all right, all these, they are coming more and more, more and more. And the other part of it is, like, for example, training robots, all right, to learn policies, using raw videos, images, and an input that they can use to replicate the actions they see. So they just begin to replicate actions that they see. All right. So what we're saying here is that there are a lot of aspects, into what machine learning can really do. If you're able to build some algorithms that can really work, all right. And I tell you, that's just a win-win for you. You're gonna be happy with yourself. You're gonna, you're gonna feel very, very comfortable, and you're gonna see the future is gonna be very bright for you. And like we say, you don't really need any kind of university degree to start taking this career seriously. Be curious, ask questions, get excited about what you're doing. And I tell you, within the next few years, you're going to be happy that you are making the decision to become a machine learning expert or an IT technology expert. Sorry, AI. Yeah.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And then, in fact, one thing that I want us to glean out of this, one of the take home I want us to have from this is a passion to actually delve into AI and machine language, because I feel that it's true that the advent of AI and machine language is very, very rapid, like eating through the communities, eating through the society, it's eating through the every spaces around every industry very, very fast. But one thing I've got to know that is, most especially, not everybody, not every youth, not every Gen Z in this century is actually looking to the aspect, because nobody really have so much knowledge about AI and machine language. Maybe what we just know is ChatGPT, and perhaps maybe we have opportunity to see different developments on TV. So, sir, what I want you to do for us now is to give us that give us those insights, why we to see the urgency, to see the need to delve into AI and machine languages, and to harness it to bring about food productivity in this our time. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the what I would say is that a lot of people, the problem is that a lot of people have some kind of phobia, kind of fear. All right. When you talk about technology, for example, like I say, that people will think that, okay, people who have done computer science, all right, they are the one that this is meant for them. This is not meant for me. All right. They think, okay, the engineers, this is meant for them. This is not meant for me. You understand that you need to have some kind of advanced skills before you can begin to implement it. Like I told you, the first time I heard about AI, machine learning, I was like, I had what I call, I was so scared. And I thought, how am I going to learn this? You understand? I didn't know that it is not something. I will say this. Let me give you a soft landing. It is not something as difficult as you think. I think that's what I would just say first. It's not something as difficult as you think. Or sometimes, sometimes people just make something very complicated, and they make it so complicated that you just scared, even in your first lessons, or the first attention you're going to get, and they use some kind of words. Actually, these words are going to come back, but they are going to be something that you're going to learn gradually. For example, you're going to be hearing some words like algorithm, some words like model, some words, you're going to be hearing those words that can scare you at the beginning. But let me tell you, those are just, it's like this. Every profession, every skills has its own terminology. They have their own words, they have something that they use. But if you really look deep into those words carefully, you'll see that it has something related to do with your day-to-day life activities. So it's because some people have not been able to connect, those words, with their day-to-day life activities. You see that they get scared with the use of those words. So if you really find somebody, or if you have an expert, like your institution, for example, where people can come and learn, and you are able to show them, that, hey, this thing, you don't need to have any kind of phobia for this. That, look, the world is so live, because the areas you're going to use these things in the future, give them, all the examples, give them, the prospect. You're going to be working with companies. You're going to be working with e-commerce companies. You're going to be working with insurance company. My first job was this. I was working with insurance company. I was like, the first thought was this: what are they going to do here? You understand? What is an expert in machine learning going to do in an insurance company? I tell you, it was massive. It was massive. If you look at the jobs in the banking industry too, massive. If you look at production, just think about IT companies. Look at the development that is going on every time. It's just massive. It is just endless, to say the opportunities that are there. If you look at the telecommunication company, you are going to be working there. The chance is so big that you will have a lot of job offers that you don't even know the one to choose from anymore. There was a situation in my time, I had so many. Let me tell you, this is one of the good things, you can also look into. Most of these jobs, one of the beauties is the remote part of it too. You can work from home. I never worked in the office. I work from home. All right. So you can see the beauty of it. That think about how the world is changing. Instead of you now, imagine during the COVID time where people had to stay at home. Who were those people making the money? Who were those people, working from home? These are the experts in this area because they work from home. So it was a very good opportunity. And now most companies, after the COVID, you see that most companies started shifting to remote work. All right. So they were looking for people who can work remotely. So if you are there in Nigeria, you have the skills. You can work with companies in the US. You can work with companies in Germany. You can work with companies in Sweden. You can work with companies in, what's it called? You can work with companies in the UK. So it just depends on you. So the opportunity is just so massive that you don't need to travel to United States, to get a job. You can get a job at the, just in the four corners of your parlor there. And that is the beauty of learning these skills. I tell you, it is something that you're not going to regret. You're going to be happy that you're making this choice today. Hello.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. In fact, you've really given us an emphasis that the opportunities in these industries, when we are going in with the knowledge, with our hunger and our curiosity for AI and machine languages, the opportunities they are very large, and listening is going to be of great benefit. And in fact, one of the things that stood out, and someone else also mentioned in the conversation, they love working from home. It's an advantage. And also, so I have a question here. He says, what does a Python developer need to switch to machine language?
Okay, when you're already a Python developer, I think you already you're already doing something very similar, because in machine in machine learning, actually the programming language you're going to use more often is
But I
Python,
believe
right?
this, that I'm touching the water, please. Yes, I'm sorry that I'm switching off the water. So it's not going to affect me.
All right, can you hear me,
Now I'm
please?
switching off the water. Please.
All right. So what I'm saying is that if you look
Yes, I
at
can
it,
hear you, sir. I can hear
as a
you, sir.
Python developer, right, you already have the knowledge, you have the basis, you have because actually, if you want to build algorithms, models in machine learning, you have different programming languages you can use. But I think at the moment, the best language you can use so far is Python. A lot of people also work with R, but Python is the most preferred, by so many persons at the moment. So what you just need to understand now is that since you already have the knowledge in Python, is to just start building some algorithms, build some models, try with some data out there, go to Cargo, get some data and start working on some data, build all these algorithms, test your algorithm, know the different ways to test your algorithm, the accuracy, and, begin to look into those stuff. But like I told you, that's the good thing about having an institution like this, or a mentor, somebody who can tell you, hey, look into this part of it. If you look into this part of it, I remember, there was a friend of mine. He told me, when he was in university in UK, he said a professor told him that he should look into this part, because there are some things that you just need to focus on. You don't need to know. You don't. Let me say this: you don't need to know everything in the world. You understand? You're not meant to know everything in the world, but just be focused on the path that you want to follow. And I tell you, it's going to be something great. So since you're already a Python developer, it's not going to be something. It's going to be something very easy for you. All what you just need to do is just to understand that you can implement this knowledge you already have in Python to start building your algorithms, and yeah, and that is all. I'm making your predictive analysis, and and then you also have to have a kind of, just let me say this word. When I say statistics, it's not really something that is complicated. You understand? You just need to know how it works, in the real life scenario. All right, not something that you just memorize, something a bit, how to tweak something. Then you will just understand that this is what everything about machine learning. Like I said, it is not rocket science. It's quite direct and very simple to understand.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot today. In fact, starting off with that mindset, giving us that mind that you don't need big qualifications. You don't need to be a university graduate for you to venture into even O level students to bring productivity to the things that are presently at time. So, Father, so I will say thank you so much for this time that you've given us to give us insight into what AI and what machine language is all about. And thank you for making our time for this session. Can we say thank you in the comment section, please? Let's it for his time, for the energy, for the knowledge and everything. We say thank you. We say thank you, Mr. David, for your time and the
All right.
knowledge. Thank you very much,
All right.
sir.
All right. Thank you very much. And
So,
it was a pleasure.
all right, so I know that we've gotten a lot of knowledge from this, from what AI and machine language is all about. In fact, a lot of things stood out for me. A lot of things stood out for me. So I know that we all got something to, and we got our question answered. And one thing I want us to go home with is don't be scared about venturing into this. Don't be scared about venturing into this. He has said it that there are just some words that makes us feel scared. But once you have once you are willing to learn, you can venture into it and begin to make a lot out of it. All right. So thank you all for joining us in this session. Before we go, I want us to go to our social media handles at Demo Hub Official on Facebook and Demo Hub on Instagram and on LinkedIn and also on Twitter, and let us follow and also catch every update about Demo Hub and also about the Hub webinar. And also we have access to free courses once you can register on the um, on our website website, yes, you have access to our courses as soon as you register on the website. So you can go to our website www.demohubofficial.com and have yourself registered, and also to join our community on Telegram so that we can get every update about the hub webinar and also some other interesting things for us to know about Demo Hub. And thank you so much for your time. And I really, really appreciate everyone. I know we learned something today about AI and machine language. And we know that we'll begin to venture into everything. Thank you so much for your time, and it's a very good time with us.